It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crack Crown, episode 24. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined today by the one and only Mr. Mark Meir for another one-off. How's it going, my dude?
I am well, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. There's a ton of, apparently we got some new people in chat today, so before we get into the show, our typical spiel, but also you're jumping in at a, like episode 24, like I said, we've got a one-off going on today, kind of exploring a little bit of what one of our characters has been up to. But if you are wanting to start at the beginning or check everything out, please go look up Stitch of Fate. There's 3 seasons. You can listen to it all on your podcast. You can listen to it on YouTube somewhere, all kinds of places. It's these characters. It's just kind of the start of their journey in the initial 3-arc story. And that's kind of the start of it. And then Crack Crown, you can follow up after. We've got a bunch of shows. I think you'll like them all. And we're just going to be doing more and more stuff as time goes on. And if you want to see other vampire stuff with the majority of the cast here, we also do a Saturday show, which is like a 4-hour stream called Shadows of Sybil. It's the 3rd season of that and the final season of that as well. If you head over to youtube.com/roll for it, you can see all of the seasons there totally free for you to watch. There's season 1, 2, and 3 as it's being recorded. And yeah, that's a whole other story with 2 out of the 4 main cast for this show. Both Dot and Bub are over on SOS. So yeah, if you want more vampire stuff, man, that's our shtick. We just do a lot of World of Darkness stuff, and we've got a little Hunter out there, and we'll be doing some Werewolf when that eventually releases as well. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much. And yeah, jump on the Discord, totally free. You can talk to people about all the different shows, and if you want to support us directly, you can do that over at patreon.com/podbynight, where you fund our endeavors and get some cool bonuses as a reward. Things like audio version of our after shows at the $5 tier. You can get the video version at the $10 tier. There's like a community game you can be a part of, access to a locked room in Discord, which is just like only for patrons, all kinds of stuff. So please check it out. We wouldn't be here without you guys. And it's cool to see so many new people. So thank you guys for popping in and checking the thing out. Without further ado, though, Mr. Mark Meir, we have a meeting that we've been excited to get to for a while. We've been kind of looking at it for a bit. A Mr. Danov is waiting for you. So without further ado, if you're good, ready to
I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I have my notes with a list of names.
Whoa, notes and everything. Look at this. You've evolved, Mark. You've evolved. I still have no notes. Okay, so as we go, let's set the scene, rein things in, and see what Max is up to. We slowly fade in where we always do when we're looking at Max on his lonesome away from the coterie, in his safe room, near a bed, with Adelaide nearby, flipping through some comics. She's recently been fed. She has no need to feed off of you at this present moment. But in her bat-like leathery skin, her long pointed ears and row of pointed teeth smiling, looking at you, have you told her where you're going this evening, or have you simply said that you're heading out?
Nah, I've let her know. I've let her know a few times that I was trying to set this meetup. So, yeah, she's in the know.
She's smiling at you as she finishes reading whatever page she's looking. She looks up with a bit of a curiosity in her eyes. So can you tell me again what, you're going to meet this guy and what do you hope? Is he going to like help us out?
Yeah, maybe, but, well, there's a slightly more urgent matter. I'll let you know what Vera's plan is, so yeah, I figure it would be more than polite to let the locals know what's coming down the pike. The Nas, anyway.
She nods. Yeah, not that I go out often, but even the times I kind of slip out on my own, the sewers have been less rat-filled, if that's weird to say. And she kind of looks like a little confused.
Nah, that adds up.
It just seems like things are starting to get a little scattery.
Yeah, that adds up, kid. I already tipped them off. The face-to-face, well, like I said, I got a few more things I want to ask him.
She shifts her weight on the bed and it creaks a bit as she shoves to one of the comics she was reading completely off to the side. Are we staying here then? Or are we going to go?
I think we're going to hole up. Vera's got a plan.
Yeah, I've never gone to the sewers and seen so little detritus. And she, like, smiles at that poorly use of, it's not the right word, but she giggles a bit.
Yeah, all the detritus and the flotsam and the jetsam and the whatnot. Look, things are going to get pretty inhospitable around these parts in short order, so we got to keep our heads screwed on straight, all right? So
Yeah, I know, but can you just tell, like, I know you've been busy, but what is Vera planning?
Let me put it this way. The nuclear option.
I don't know. She breaks her eye contact with you, and she seems to chew on that thought for a moment. That could be any number of things.
Okay, let me be a little less surreptitious then. We're about to see a big spike in the local lichen population.
Her curiosity quickly vanishes and is replaced with obvious fear.
Yeah, that's a good look for you to have in your eyes when I say that word, kid, because you do not want to fuck with lichens.
Listen, Gustav wasn't afraid of End much, but he never fucked with wolves. He just... Are we sure that's the right thing to do?
Yeah, well, I ain't sure about a lot of things. But it looks like that's what's happening, so best we can do is batten down the hatches, right?
You don't think we should go to, like, Chicago for that?
Yeah, that might be the smart play.
I don't know. I've never seen one before, but the way Gustav talked about them, apparently that's what got his sire.
Kid, they're bad news, all right? But, like I say, we play it smart. Maybe you keep never having seen one in your life, huh?
I want that to be that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not happening tonight, right? Like...
No, not yet.
Okay.
That is correct, right? It's not happening tonight.
Yeah, no, it's not happening tonight. No. So she kind of, you see a little bit of the tension in her shoulders relax as they slouch a bit more. And while the fear is gone, it's not replaced by the joy. It's more replaced by a contemplative look as she mindlessly flips through the remaining pages of the comic she was going through. Well, if this, you said his name was Danov, if this Danov guy is here to help you, maybe he'll give you a new plan or something.
Yeah.
It's not that I think Vera has a bad plan. Don't tell her I said that, please. I don't know. Lots of things scare me. I get it, but the lupines are like the boogeyman.
Yeah, it's nothing to fuck around with. And here we are fucking around with it.
Do you think you could take one? I've seen you put holes through people.
Yeah. Well, they ain't really people, so...
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Well, if there's any comics I should read in preparation for a werewolf attack?
Oh, yeah, let's see here. We got some Werewolf by Night.
She reaches for that one. That was the one that Disney did recently, right?
Yeah, the Halloween special and whatnot.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I my friends were talking about it before.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's all right. All right, so, you look after Max Jr., you look after Adelaide.
Max Jr. is sleeping on her pillow, and as you say his name, he kind of lifts his head up with the little slits for eyes, looks at you as you finish saying it. Whether he understands you or not, it's always hard to tell, but he puts his head down as though he finished listening to you and understood. And there's a quiet little trill that emanates out of him as he lays his head down. And she reaches over and gives him a quick pet. Well, be safe, and I'm hoping I'll see you later tonight, but if not, I assume I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. Enjoy your read, kid.
She kind of grabs at it as she crosses her legs and goes back to cracking open the comic. And I imagine for Max, you have your usual getup. The scarf, the hat, the big jacket. And even beforehand, do you I'm assuming you still go invisible to you obfuscate yourself and to move, or no?
Yeah, that tends to be the usual MO. But
So go ahead
I
and give
mean,
me a
if
rouse check.
I don't know if I necessarily need to worry about a hat or whatnot. I usually just go with the hoodie.
Scar, yeah, the hoodie. That's what it was. I got you in my mind. You're
I
like
hate the shadow.
Dark
I hate
Man.
the-
You're like the Dark Man in my head
Yeah.
for some reason.
And of course, I got the usual weapons and whatnot with me. And yeah, I'll probably top myself up with a bag of blood on the way out.
Absolutely, please do. Make your rouse check for going invisible first.
Oh yeah, so I guess I go invisible in front of the fridge.
Yeah, as you open the fridge, grab the blood bag. That's when you kind of ripple out of existence or fade from people's immediate memories. Well, you get hungry and then you sate your hunger. So,
will
yeah,
take
what's your
that
hunger
off.
at prior to this?
It was at a 2.
At a 3, and that blood bag will bring you back down to a 2.
To a 2, and then you know what? He's gonna take another bag and just top
All right.
himself off.
Yeah, you go down to 1, and we'll say that's your last blood bag until you need to meet up with somebody. Make sure you note that you're down. Need to meet
Yeah.
up. But you're down to 1 hunger. And as Max opens the refrigerator, pulls the blood bag, just as the refrigerator makes that suctioning sound as it closes, so too does Max vanish from our minds, and we can no longer perceive him as though he's there. You were going to say something, Mark, it looks like?
Yeah, of course, these days I'm kind of left to my own devices, because Sam is still in Chicago, so I'm basically breaking into hospitals myself. Well, not breaking in, I waltz in. Like I own the joint.
You do. It's something we can kind of watch maybe in the next episode. But you slide down into the manhole, and you go to where you dropped off the note, which was a loose little brick, not too far from your coteries safe haven, maybe like a 30-minute walk. And you also note what Adelaide had noted. While there's still a rat here or there, a couple of lizards or a snake or garter snake in a small puddle. While you walk down in the sewers normally within Gary, Indiana, it almost seems like anytime you turn a corner, you can hear something scamper just out of sight. But this time, a lot more silence. Less noises of rats or rodents that you pick up on. The occasional, certainly, but nowhere near the population of infestation of rodents that it seemed to once have. And as you arrive at the place where the brick sits, you note that there's nobody there, at least for now. And you also note, you're also invisible, so nobody would know that you're here either. Do you sit here invisibly for a while, or do you immediately come out of invisibility? What would Max do once he arrives to the place and sees nobody there?
Max is going to pull out a little piece of chalk from his pocket and just write here on the wall.
You get through writing the H before a familiar face ripples into existence. Bob is nearby.
I figured you just like show yourself when you show up. I didn't know you were gonna be all ghosty or something.
Yeah, well, as Max appears, rippling into existence, as he usually does.
And
By
Max
writing-
is how tall again?
Max is 6 foot even, but
And Bob is like 5'2".
yeah, and but Max has, of course, this very strange musculature and physiology. His very wide shoulders, but if you see him under the coat, he's actually got like a huge bat-like rib cage, but kind of emaciated, but nevertheless strong.
And Bob is 5'1", is wearing a white, very stained T-shirt and some basketball shorts with some old Vans as shoes. And he sits at like I said, he's a pretty hefty guy, maybe a couple 100 pounds. But what reeks Nosferatu about him is this thick coat of moisture that seems to cover every inch of his flesh. When he talks, there's uncontrollable drool that falls from the part, like a big fat part of his lip. And he's always wiping away sweat that seems to never quite disappear. And if you choose to smell, he might smell a little rank, but you are a kindred. So as you, like you said, kind of reappear.
And
what exactly?
as he usually does, Max appears as he's lighting a cigarette, and with his usual, "Hey, Bob, what's the rumpus?"
As you light the cigarette, Bob flinches a little bit.
I'll never understand how some of you can still deal being around fire. That shit scares the shit out of me.
Well, you get used to it after a while, Bob. Sorry for the subterfuge, but considering what I ran into last time, I thought it best, keep a low profile.
He gestures kind of nonchalantly at your cigarette now lit. May I?
Sure, Bob. Knock
He reaches
yourself out.
forward. As he pinches the cigarette between his thumb and index finger, you get a little bit of slime that kind of trails on your knuckle. He pulls it, and you see him take a drag that lasts 1, 2, 3 seconds, too long, as half the cigarette.
By this point,
goes.
Max has already lit another cigarette. and
Okay,
just
I
says,
figure.
"That one's all you, Bob."
As he lets out just a huge billow of smoke, you can see the tip of where he took it in is like damp with moisture. And he his eyes close, and he really seems to like revel in that. I don't think it's been maybe a decade since I've had one of these. Hey, don't tell Danoff. And he just takes the rest of that cigarette down, and with one last exhale through his mouth and nose, he flicks the butt into a little puddle of water where you can hear a quick tss.
Oh, Danoff don't approve of smoking, huh? That's good to know. Hold
Oh,
on.
yeah, he doesn't care so much, but I made a promise that I wouldn't do it anymore because it really doesn't serve any purpose other than bad habit. But, and I'm also really afraid of fire. So,
I get
I
you.
don't light my own cigarettes. Anyway,
Still,
good news.
best to be polite as Max extinguishes his cigarette.
Well, good news. Mr. Danoff is excited to meet with you. At least I think he's excited. The man is always cool as a cucumber.
All right. I suppose that's because of his inner peace that he's found on his path, right?
He just kind of like snaps and points at you with a wicked grin. You're starting to get it already. That's why. Come on. And he starts waddling off from the puddle onto the concrete and down a nearby tunnel.
Max will follow.
You follow for a while, maybe we'll say maybe like 10, 15 or so minutes before he comes to a stop over near a wall that has a pretty thick crack down the center. And down toward the bottom, there's about a foot gap that has dark. You can see there's a hole there. It's pretty pitch black. He reaches down on his hands and knees, plops down onto her stomach. He's like, hang on. And he starts reaching in and scooting himself further and further until his face is pressed up against the concrete, fiddling for something. And then eventually he's like, okay, there it is. Got it. Okay, 1, 2, yeah. And he just pulls. And as he pulls, a huge chunk of the concrete under him, or rather like more off to his left, begins to slide and move backward as though it's detached from the floor and the wall itself. A little bit of concrete dust kicks up, but then it stops. He only pulls for a couple of seconds. You don't actually see like a gap in the wall. He steps back. All right, can you fit in that hole down there? Because you're going to go down there, and on your left-hand side is going to be another little crawl space. You're going to have to slide down that, and you're going to go down that path for like a couple of minutes. It's going to be pitch black, and you're going to tell there's going to be a left and a right. Don't go to either of those. Go down. There's like a little spot. If you go further forward, you can fall down a nice little hole down there, and that's like his meeting area.
You're not coming, Bob?
Oh, I got business. Sorry.
Well, this is some real Indiana Jones shit you got up here, Bob.
Oh, Gary's a lack of options to hide. We kind of make do with what we got.
All right.
If we were in Chicago, oh, I bet you we'd have some nice digs. But Chicago's a hellhole, so.
Well, thanks for bringing me, Bob. I probably don't need to tell you that if this is a setup, etc., etc.
If there's a setup, you won't see me ever again.
Yeah. Anyway, good to see you, Bob.
As you clearly just did not take that as a joke and let that linger. He backs up and gives you like a gentle pat on the back and says, "Good luck, Danoff's a good guy, but he's a hard read sometimes." And then you hear him start to walk off before the sound disappears after only merely 3 or 4 steps.
And even though he's probably gone, Max just stands there for a second and goes,
Yeah, thanks for the tip.
and proceeds down.
Give me
the passage.
a dexterity athletics check.
Dexterity athletics.
I like making Max squeeze through tight holes. we did that in the other one too. Wow, you've all successes. You practiced at this point. You didn't roll. Thank God you didn't roll a messy crit though. You almost did. You're able to slide in legs first, and eventually kind of. It's not that you dislocate your shoulder, but it's not really like injury in that way for Kindred. Being able to move and stretch your muscles and bones in unnatural manner is all part of being or having the gift rather of undeath. And eventually, as you slide through and crawl forward, maybe like 6 inches on your left is like this raggedy hole that was clearly ripped out and punched through, not like constructed there by any plans. And you actually go past a layer of concrete, a layer of dirt, and then that dirt kind of gives way to thick roots and other dirt around it before it seems to have more concrete mixed in. Eventually, as you reach the end of that tunnel, you reach the left and the right, but also a little bit more forward. And as you go forward, there's a rather obvious kind of gaping hole that you could easily slide out of. That's maybe a foot wide in diameter that you could just kind of shoot down, though you can't see anything down there. It's pitch black.
Okay. Well, once more into the breach, as they say.
You have no ability to see in the dark, right?
No, I don't have auspex or anything.
Yeah. Okay. So with that internal boost of confidence, Max slides down, and you fall maybe a couple of feet before you land relatively normally on your own. And your own landing of your feet hitting the ground echoes a little bit, indicating that the room you're in is pretty big and mostly empty. You sit there for a few seconds. Would Max kind of land and then wait, or would he immediately start trying to look around? What would Max do? Again, it's all pitch black, like completely dark.
This is where I was told to go, right?
Yep, this is where you were told to go. As you land, do you just wait immediately, or does Max immediately start to try to like look around? It's dark, but he could wander and walk if he wanted to.
If this is where I was told to go, this is where I'm going to stand and just say, okay, reckon it's your move.
You're left in the silence and the darkness for a solid 5 minutes. There's no noise of rat feet scurrying, though the distant trickling of water from where you once came can still be slightly heard off in the distance, muffled. Eventually, however, the darkness does give way to light. It's not a giant overhead light that illuminates the entire room. It's somebody else walking in from a doorway off to your left, maybe 6 to 7 feet. You see a dim orange glow before a figure does walk through a little archway that is pretty, I shouldn't say little archway, a pretty big archway. As he steps in, the light is beaming from a small handheld flashlight. And as he walks into the room, he kind of points the flashlight upward. And before he kind of scans the room and he sees you. I'm assuming you're not invisible, right?
No, I haven't cloaked up again.
As it hits you, it kind of stays on you steadily for a moment before you hear just a gentle yet raspy voice. You must be Max.
Yeah. You Danoff?
The silence after you ask that kind of carries as you hear footsteps making their way closer to you. And when they get within about a foot or so and the light is there, he will kind of like click the light off. I am. Please, follow me. And he places a hand on your hand to take yours. When he grasps your hand, you actually feel warmth in his touch. Something that, while you can make happen via Blush of Life, you still would be surprised to feel off of a kindred. And he leads you into the darkness from whence he came. And eventually the silence and the distant trickling of water gives way to idle chatter. You make your way down a tunnel, take a couple of turns that are hard to figure out because there's no light. But eventually you walk into a dimly lit room that has like these orange lights flickering around as they are candles kind of put up on little makeshift shelves, wooden shelves, carved shelves into the wall. And what is left of what must have been some sort of meeting area. There are 3 plain tables, 2 of them wooden and 1 of them plastic, like the ones that you would get at Walmart that pop out and you can sit on. And there's a few lawn chairs left around, but there's 3 Nos that you don't recognize having some chatter, and there seems to be an abandonment of anything else in here. It really seems like the 3 tables, the 3 Nos, you and Danoff are the only things here. It's otherwise entirely empty, save the candles. As he steps in, he kind of just turns to you, and now you can actually see him. He puts his hand on your chest and just simply says, "Wait here a moment," as he walks to the 3 others. Now that you get a good look,
Go on.
I say now that you got a good look at Danoff, he is no one that would, I think, in mortal life probably wouldn't stick out all that much. He's of average height, 5'6", 5'7", and of average build, not like super skinny, not super fat, maybe a couple 100 pounds or so. And his face is wide, with incredibly deep set eyes. The circles around his eyes are pronounced. And it's those eyes that even for a Nos, you seem to almost get lost in for a moment. They are intoxicating. They are attractive. His eyes are really beautiful to look at. Gray on the outside that gives way to a crisp blue as it moves towards the center of his pupil. But that completely contrasts with the rest of his self. That is, much like other Nos, a hideous-looking creature with coarse, thick, leathery skin that's crinkled and twisted and weird spots on his neck, chin, arms. His face is disfigured. Beyond his eyes, it's contorted, where it's kind of crooked. His jaw is slightly misaligned from his top teeth, and the top of his head is mostly bald, spare the crazy scientist tuft of hair here or there in no random order. When looking at him, there's no denying that this man is truly Nosferatu. It's simply his eyes that kind of catch you off from that. He has a brief conversation with the three that he wandered off to, and they seem to very quickly depart out toward another door that leads deeper into whatever this place you're in is. And as he turns around, you get a good look at his clothing, and he's not wearing anything special. He's just like the rest of the Nos that you've seen to have met with him. He's dressed exceedingly casually. He's got these worn khakis on, but he's wearing no shoes and no socks. And up top, he's got a button-down collared shirt that is, it's seen better days, but it's not unpresentable. He's the thing that's unpresentable. He turns from that conversation, you get a good look. And as he wanders back over, I have heard and have been extremely excited to meet you.
Yeah, me too, I suppose. Been waiting for this face-to-face for a while now.
He gestures to one of the lawn chairs around the plastic table. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but if you would like to rest, take a seat.
Sure, I'll take a load off.
He joins you as he walks over to where you guys are. He pulls up his own chair and sits comfortably, crosses his legs, and folds his fingers while leaving his hands very limp and relaxed in his lap. You sit down across from him, and he just looks to you, waiting for you to speak first.
So, from the state of things, I'm guessing you got my message.
I did.
Yeah, I figured a heads up would be appreciated.
It is. I don't know what Vera has planned, but it has many of the kindred scared at the moment.
Yeah, well, that might have been part of the plan. So, just wanted to make sure that you and yours were out of harm's way.
I appreciate that, Max. It's a testament to your character.
Yeah.
Is that all you wanted to see me for? A fair warning of dangers to roam the streets of Gary, Indiana, as if that is nothing new.
Nah, I've been trying to set up this meeting long before I knew that was even the plan. I heard a lot about you, Danoff.
So speak your mind.
Yeah. At first, I figured you was playing some kind of angle. But the more I've talked to the locals, especially Bob, you seem to be on the level. Bob's a true believer, by the way.
Bob is a good man. I give up on that. Bob is a good man. He's a troubled individual, as many of us are. But nobody is perfect. The path of Golconda is not a path to walk to perfection, but a path to understand and truly to understand and accept yourself for who you are.
Yeah, Golconda. I ain't gonna lie to you. It sounds like a lot of new age crap I heard over the years. I used to hang with a bunch of hippies for a while, and it's pretty Age of Aquarius, you gotta admit.
I had hoped that the 60s would bring about a revolution spiritually, but it seems the powers that be didn't want that happening.
No, the powers that be usually don't go for those spiritual revolutions.
Well, as you said, you see it as a bunch of new agey stuff, and yet you sit before me. So curiosity must sit somewhere within you. A seed of it, at least.
Yeah, I'll admit it. You piqued my curiosity, as it were.
And what is
But-
it about the path that strikes that curiosity of yours, Mr. I know your name is Max, but what about last name?
I ain't gone by nothing but Max for a long time, dear Danoff. Max is just fine.
And Max it'll be.
Yeah. Well, I ain't heard much, but I have heard. Golconda, it's all about taming the beast, is that right?
Depends on who you speak to. Taming the beast is such an aggressive way of putting things.
Okay,
It's
making
less-
making nice with the beast so it's not so beastly. How about that?
For a layman, that is a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Are you troubled by your beast, Max?
Well, ain't we all?
He shakes his head.
I wish that were true. But the Sabbat are a great example of those who embrace their beast and all the monstrous actions that come with it.
Yeah, I suppose you got a point there. Look,
Have you always been interested in touching your human side again?
well, that sounds kind of dirty, Danoff.
He does give a breathy chuckle at that.
Yeah, maybe I'm not one for the touchy-feely whatnot, but... Yeah. I've
Isn't
never
it
really-
interesting to you that the most ugly of us are the ones that seem to care most about what we once were?
Well, I suppose it's because of what we lost, right?
For some. Is that what drives you?
Nah. I'm not in this to get my boyish good looks back, if that's what you're asking.
If
But
there was one redeeming quality of Gustav, it was his unique appearance.
yeah, it's a real thrill, believe you me. But mostly I'm interested in what Golconda can do about the hunger, about feeding.
Many things. I myself feed much less often. The hunger doesn't claw at me like it does for those who walk the streets on a nightly basis. But that's after centuries of discipline, practice, and study.
Yeah. Well,
Not many hear of Golconda. Even fewer decide to search for the path after hearing it. Is it just mere curiosity, Max, that brings you here then? You heard of the term or of the path and had to know. I feel as though there might be something different, more.
Well, personally, I ain't drunk from a living person in about, well, north of 70 years.
Very impressive.
Yeah. I take mine to
miss
go.
And he holds up one of the empty blood bags.
As he holds the empty blood bag, he, with this kind of a toothy grin.
Do you miss the live ones, though?
Yeah, well, who doesn't? Sure. But I
I
don't-
appreciate the honesty with yourself that you seem to have so far, Max. It's rare.
But my question ain't about me so much.
Is it not?
As a friend of mine, a child, my child, not my child. Okay, look, I'm gonna level with you, Danoff. I don't know why, but I think I can trust yous. I got a young Nos under my care. Not my child, but she was created by Gustav, by my sire.
Word has it Gustav doesn't walk any longer, is it true?
Yeah, You might say that. Kinda hard to walk around when your legs and the rest of you's turned to dust.
He doesn't chuckle at that, but he does nod along as he indicates he's listening.
Yeah. So Gustav ain't a thing no more. But it ain't to say that he hasn't left behind collateral damage. Adelaide, my kid. She can only drink kindred blood. And I don't gotta tell you what that means. That means she's always gotta be bound to someone.
So you come to me looking for a separation, something to feed her,
Yeah.
and remove the bond upon her that you have.
Well, I gotta admit, I don't like feeling like she isn't acting of her own accord.
I understand. The
And
blood bond is a traumatic experience for both sides.
beyond that, maybe I ain't always gonna be around. And what then? Then she's at the mercy of whoever else she's gonna be feeding from. So, in your experience, being a man of the path of Golconda as you are, is that something we could maybe work around?
Even sitting before me, with the thought of Golconda on your mind, your thoughts go to the others you care for. A most human feature, not found in many kindred.
No need to butter me up, Danoff.
Trust me, I'm not trying to butter you up. You are a rare specimen, Max. I am and will help you. But it will take time. In the meanwhile, if your immediate concern is to remove the blood bond, return to me every month, and I'll provide to you kindred blood that sits outside the body. Each feeding will belong to a different kindred to ensure blood bonding is minimized.
Yeah, but she's still gonna be bound to somebody, ain't she? And if it's gonna be anybody, I'd rather it be me, just so's I know that there's not gonna be any funny business. You get me?
He nods.
I understand. What I was going to conclude with was, in the meantime, I will reach out to some of those I know within Chicago. There may be a few Tremere who could help with that.
Okay.
It'll take time, and I don't...
He goes, let me try it again. He goes,
It'll take time, and I cannot promise you anything. But if there's anybody who could figure this out, it'll be the blood mages in Chicago. We will not be able to remove her hunger, but we may be able to direct her beast to more mortal means of feeding.
Well, that would come in handy, because, like I said, she's kind of in a sticky situation right now, but I'd like to help her out.
Each kindred's burden is unique to them.
he leans forward and places his elbows on his lap, folds his fingers, and leans in.
I would ask a favor of you, one that you may not even need me to ask you, but I am going to anyway. You care for this girl.
Yeah.
Keep her as your ward until the time for her to release as a neonate comes. But by then, if you are the man you seem to be, perhaps it'll be time for her to take the hand and walk the path of Golconda as well. That's not something I can decide now. I'd rather you...
He stops himself.
I want to watch you, Max. Kindred don't often take in orphans. More often than not, they're put to death. But you, and your age, still sits much closer to who they once were than many others. Perhaps Golconda was the path placed at your feet from the very beginning.
And,
But
go on.
if this doesn't sound too hippy-dippy for you, I would love to meet with you again. There's something I'd like you to start to read.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Homework, huh? And, how long have you been walking this path?
Let's say I'm closer to a millennia than I am centuries.
Well, I knew you was old, but what I meant was how long you been walking the path to Golconda.
That is my answer.
Shit, really?
It was a calling early in my life. Curiosity pulled me. Revelations kept me. There is good in us. We are just not what we were. But that doesn't mean we can't access who we were. You're a good man. I imagine you were a good man in life, too.
Well, not as bad as some. Let's put it that way.
He nods.
Do you have anything that you'd like to ask me while we have the time?
Okay, since I'm here. This, Golconda. I mean, is it gonna take a millennium to find any kind of peace? Is that what you're telling me?
He shakes his head.
As I said earlier, Maxwell, everyone's path is different. What you achieve in a week could take another 6 months. What takes you a decade could take me a day. I can't, and I won't answer that for you. When you walk the path, you will know.
Okay then.
And next we meet, I'll have something for you to read. A deeper understanding of the nature of our beast and how in tandem we can exist peacefully and feed in humane ways while keeping our hunger at bay.
Is this a book you wrote?
He shakes his head.
It is not. It is one I discovered much older than I am. Much like the Book of Nod. Are you familiar?
I mean, I heard of it.
Mysticism, myths, and rumors. Who knows how much of it is true? The same could be said for what I want you to read. But I find importance, and I find a lesson to be found in it. Will you come meet with me again?
Yeah, all right. When?
Let me know when Vera's plans have been enacted. You may leave a message in the usual location. No matter where I am, I will attain it, I promise.
Okay then.
I wish to see what Gary, or rather you go, I wish to see what's left of Gary standing after Vera's plan completes.
Yeah, well, we'll try not to wreck the joint.
Those who have put leashes on the lupine end up being the first devoured. I just urge you to be very, very cautious.
Okay then.
I look forward to more philosophical discussions with you, Max. Your concerns are rooted in the immediate, and I understand why. But I want to probe at you more.
That also sounds dirty. That also sounds dirty, Danoff. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you're right. I'd also like to question you more.
Better.
Your beliefs. Were you religious man in your life?
Nah. Nah, I didn't have much time for church on Sunday.
I find that religion holds back those who want to walk the path. Religion, or at least many of them, are based on guilt. The path is based on acceptance. Keep that in mind. And remember, while kine are seen as nothing more than cattle, they are still the life of this planet.
Yeah, I never really liked that term, kind. Yeah.
It is dehumanizing.
Yeah, probably by design.
Oh, almost assuredly. Maxwell, it was a pleasure. Think on the things we spoke of. Next I see you, there'll be much more to discuss.
Okay then. You gonna escort me out or what?
He shakes his head. You may find your own way.
What? Can I get a flashlight or something?
He chuckles and he points to where the other three left, the other tunnel.
Down that way. It is lit and there'll be an exit for you.
All right. Well, nice jawing with you there, Danoff. I'll look
You as
forward
well,
to doing it
Max.
again.
Before you go, I have one last question.
Yeah.
And I would like you to be honest with me, even though I understand your relationship. Is Vera a threat?
A threat? What, to you?
No. To the peace and stability of Gary.
Yeah, well, Vera herself would probably tell you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. And this is going to be a pretty big omelet. But,
I am eager to hear from you again.
yeah.
It means you made it through the night.
One last question, if you don't mind, and this ain't related to none of what we've been talking about, but the name Evelyn Stevens mean anything to you?
Not in any personal matter, but I know who she is. Why?
Well, I suspect we're finding ourselves at odds. You don't know if she's, you seem like a guy with his ear to the ground. You don't know if
Evelyn
she's...
Stevens is the child of the of who was once the Baron of the Anarchs in Gary. I'm sure you've heard. Both the Prince and the Baron of Gary have mysteriously vanished.
Yeah, I kind of been clued in on that.
She would be seen, I imagine, as his progenitor, his anointed follow-up.
Okay.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting her, so I could not say more than that.
As a purveyor of knowledge, you happen to know where she's holding up?
He shakes his head.
Even if I did, Max, I wish not to wade into the political war field between Camarilla and the Anarchs.
Yeah.
It's not of my concern.
Yeah, well, just so we're on the same page here, it's not like I'm a huge fan of the Cam myself.
You're more entrenched than I.
Yeah, I suppose I am.
You walk with Vera.
That's a point.
And I believe she called herself the Raven, the messenger of the Camarilla here in Gary.
Yeah, well, the situation's fluid, I'll say that.
He seemingly maybe trying to break the tension.
I don't say that with judgment. We all do what we must to survive.
Sure. Anyway, thanks for the chat. Listen, at some point, maybe not the next meeting, but do you think I could introduce you to Adelaide?
I think I would like that when the time is right.
Okay. And Max Jr., too. You should probably meet him.
Another child.
Cat.
I I do enjoy the feline company.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great. Anyway,
I'll have to introduce you to Monty.
who's Monty?
Not mine, but one of my followers, Pug.
Pugs, I love pugs. They're great. Okay, all right. Well, I could stand here jawing all night, but we'll catch you on the flip side, right?
He nods and gently stands up to say goodbye, and we'll lead you over to the door. And as you wander off, he doesn't say anything else, and I imagine Max as well is sated with his questions. Before we end the episode, though, you will have access to the very first dot of the Golconda lore sheet moving on from here out. It's a 3 experience purchase, which I think you have. And for those who don't know, the first dot of the lore sheet of the Golconda is basically he can now speak about Golconda without seeming like an insane person. And once per story, he could ask me if an action he's going to take would hinder the path he walks on Golconda. Basically, would it be bad for his humanity? But as he wanders off and you have access to that, everything kind of fades to black. And we'll pick up next week with another episode of Crack Crown. I almost said SOS. Of Crack Crown, everybody. We are heading into a big, busy, summer. So bear with us as we are working on scheduling things. We should be good for the upcoming shows, but we'll be doing more one-offs in the upcoming future as con season starts to hit us. But that's it for us. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mark. Again, we're off.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.